Hi, I'm Diane Brown. I'm reading to you from my new book, Every Now and Then I Have Another Child. I'm much more used to reading in live audiences, but that's just not possible at the moment. So you get to see all the messy background of my office. Every Now and Then I Have Another Child is an extended poetic narrative. It tells a story, has characters just like a novel, and chapters like a novel, but it also has quite a lot of poems that more or less stand alone. So I'll start off. I thought I'd read one poem from each chapter and the prologue to begin with. This is how it is for all of us. Every morning before breakfast, a new skin, your old one flaked and floating against the window like dust motes or snow, each particle unique and elusive. Sometimes you reach for memory, an impossible task in this throwaway world. What choice is there but to slip on your new self, as if you come clean, without story, without family, without myth, and emerge blinking into the light, trusting no one will notice you have been dreaming again and am not quite the same. Now, this story begins with a woman who finds a baby in her hotel room, as you do, and takes her home, as you do. And this is her talking to the baby. Who are you? She doesn't have a name. First, I need to comprehend her pale, almost waxy skin. Every now and then, when I think it's time, I try to feed her warm milk, not my own. I've dried up, as expected. What was I thinking, having a baby at my age? Her eyes gaze into mine, as if she's known me forever. Her mouth open, like the antique doll with porcelain face, tangled brown hair, and dark, glassy eyes I threw in the fire when my mother disappeared. Who are you? I yell, but she's gone in deep to the other side. To follow her would kill me. There's no oxygen down there. I reel on the brink of the pit, calling out the name I have not given her and do not know. For now, I'll leave her underground and close to my chest, because a character, if not a baby, can be in two places at once, over here and over there. So that is the baby. The woman goes home, the narrator, to a place that could be Dunedin, and she's a creative writing teacher. The woman who refuses to leave. Help! As I'm going to bed, an unidentified caller on the phone, her voice on the verge of panic. There's a woman in my garden. You know the one, that silly woman obsessed with love. Is she referring to my stalker? Doesn't make sense, but what does? Gradually, I recognize the tone, the smoky resonance of an online student, Leslie, who claims entitlement. I want a character with ideas, who's engaged with the world, who cares about homelessness, refugees, global warming. But this ditzy woman's demanding an introduction to an eligible man and refusing to leave. I'm desperate to fall into sleep, though not into my own woman refusing to leave dream. Not a cop, I offer literary advice. You can make a tree fall on her, I suggest, or have a car burst through the wall and knock some sense into her. Something happens to Leslie in the course of this book. You will find out. And this poem, there's quite a lot in here about writing. So this is another writing poem, The Pattern of Memoir. In the days before synthetics from China, woman knitted. My brownie teacher taught me at 7, words or wool, anyone can master it. First, the unravelling of elusive, possibly false strands of memory. Next, you settle into long days, row after row, hoping for a garment approximating truth. Knowing anything reknitted is always a little uneven, a compromise at best. I make no mention of the casting off, the way your hands, finding nothing to do now, start searching for trouble again, unearthing that old thing in the back of the wardrobe, just itching for a makeover, a whole new life. And there's quite a lot in this book about going to the beach, one of my favourite activities. And there's a boy in this book, but you'll find out about him. No cameras, but a film set. Difficult to keep up in the real world. A shock to climb the dunes, confront the beach I like to call my own, deserted midday but floodlit. The sun slanted at an angle under clouds, revealing the raggedy edge of the cliffs and every crimp of Bird Island defined in selected shades, neon green patches of grass, the rocks rendered black to washed grey, a flash of white wings and luminous blue sky. The whole scene radiant, though strangely unsettling, as if I've stumbled into another world, a film set or the beginning of the end. That North Korean missile there's talk of lately, a terrible beauty blossoming over sea. The red-beaked gulls screeching and whirling overhead take no notice. I throw the ball, for what else is there to do? Towards the rocks, the dog leaps up barking. Something imperceptible. I whirl around expecting a sea lion to emerge. A boy's hand, warm, familiar, with rocks, shells, sticks, with catching fish, butterflies, and insubstantial things. And not only do I go to the beach, but I go to the supermarket quite often, not so much lately. And this is based on a real visit I had to New World. Semantics at New World. Grouse and Flash are making a comeback, the fresh-faced student packing my groceries says to the checkout girl. I can't resist an intervention. What are you studying? I ask. Law, to please parents, he sighs, but really I'm a writer, artist and photographer. I'm a poet and novelist, I say, pleased to establish a common connection. He frowns, shakes his handsome head. I'm into creative writing, he says, as if it's some superior religion from which I'm excluded. Short stories and all, he adds. Grouse, I think, after he's fetched the almond butter to replace the peanut he'd bought back the first time as a substitute for the original almond with the popped top, which someone hungry might have stuck a dirty finger in. It's important, I say, to read, to know what's what. Too busy impressing the girl, he's not listening. Invisible, I walk away. You'll never guess what happened at the supermarket, I say to Seuss on my return. He stares back blankly from the couch. This won't do, I say to him. I've got to take you back. And here's a voice of the baby. She's quite a smart baby. She talks. Manifesto, the baby. I know I'm weak, coming back unasked as if I'm an abused child, desperate for my true mother, despite knowing she can't help resorting back to her neglectful ways. That's the nature of the bond. The boy on the wall wasn't a good fit for her or this story. The reader might think it a step too far. Besides, she already has sons, much loved, but unable to fill the hole left by her abandoning mother. Who else could she love but me? The heavens opened when she sang my name, but I'm no pushover, no weakling settling for neglect. I want what I'm due, what everyone is due, to be seen. And we're back at the beach again, the island. The island almost close enough to touch, but forever elusive to those without wetsuits, surfboards or kayaks. Today, though, the sea appears to have withdrawn, creating a pathway of shallow water which laps at my feet while the ever-present gulls spin in the air. I listen for sirens calling, yearning to wade across, clamber up the inhospitable rocks, wave to those watching and worrying from the beach. Treasure there, all that I have never known, buried in the deep cave, I'm sure. But even today, dangerous, the stranger I meet on the shore warns me, pointing out the cross currents. My dog barks at his heels, he too anxious for adventure. Maybe if I were younger and stronger. Still wintry, the stranger says, the water infused with Antarctic memory. I must not allow myself to be carried away. And this is in the last section of the book, the rubric of the novel. This was based on what happened before I got made redundant from my creative writing teaching job. The rubric of the novel. All we want, the academics said in the moderation meeting before I lost my job, is a rubric, a map describing each step precisely, so anyone might teach your class, whether they are a writer or not. It's like this, I wrote. You begin here, facing forward, remembering compass and locator beacon, in the event you lose your way. A mirror too would be handy, in case you forget who you are. Maybe a wetsuit and rope, allowing for the possibility of a raging creek. No, I edited myself. They don't desire an author's insecurities. I started again. Step on the largest rock. There is no chance of a flood or it becoming dislodged. I guarantee it will hold your weight. Believe me, any old fool could cross over to the other side, to the promised resolution. Amazing how quickly the mind seizes on certainties. How willing I become to descend into line, creating a grid on the computer, a confined space to work within. But when I tried to pin it down, it grew entangled. Words begin nowhere and randomly, I wanted to say. Maybe a particular light, unattached to words, feelings, even thought, will become an epic novel, a lyric poem, or a merging of the two to confuse publishers and librarians who like to catalogue. Maybe you would walk straight into a possum hanging from a tree in the dead of night, or one falls at your feet in the city park and you decide to begin there. Or that rock you stood on suddenly shifts beneath your feet, and next you know, you're being swept over a waterfall, terrified, but going along for the ride to see where it ends. Trust me, I am telling you, there is no map. There is just your way, my way, and every time different. No surprise, perhaps. Their ending was brutal, my throat cut. And there I'll leave it. That's a sort of a small taster of what you'll find in Every Now and Then I Have Another Child. Thank you for listening. Bye.